Good morning, everyone. Hello. Happy Thursday. Good morning. How is everyone today? It's Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art, and I'm here with you on an early Thursday morning again. We did early morning last Thursday. It was kind of fun. We had a good group pop in. I know I sometimes come to you on Monday afternoons, but next few weeks I'll be here on Thursday early, 8:30 Eastern time. So welcome, you guys. Thanks for watching. Hi, Tracy. Good morning. Hope you're doing well today. Hi, everyone. Thank you for popping in. What a great day it's going to be. We're going to do some painting this morning. So I'm here to show you a cool project again. I don't know if you remember, we did the Frida flower pot recently. That was one of my favorite recent little paintings. So anyways, I found a good deal. I've been wanting to paint some more little canvas sneakers, you know. I generally do the other style. I generally do this style. I find them at Hobby Lobby, and they're great for sellers. I sell them at craft fairs quite a bit and in little shops. I like these little slip-on styles because you've got a good amount of room to paint. Hi, Nellie. Fatima, good morning. Hi, Lisa. So I usually get these, but I was there looking for some yesterday, and they had the little, more like the little Converse style, and they were on clearance. So I don't know if they're discontinuing, but these were $3.50. So I bought a few pairs to put in one of my shops here in Florida. And I often paint like little beach scenes, sea turtles, flowers. This little guy, there's not a lot of room to paint, so flowers would be cool. But I wanted to paint some butterflies with you guys this morning, so I probably will put butterflies on them. Hi, Charlotte. Good morning. Hope everyone's well today. In case you missed it, Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art. Hello. You may be watching me on my page. You may be watching me on Craft Around the Clock. It is my Craft Around the Clock segment this morning. And that is a fabulous page. If you guys don't follow, please do. Links are in my description. It's like a live craft show every day. There's crafters all day. You can watch, you can work along with, you can just hang out. Great creative community. Nice to surround yourself with like-minded creatives. And my gig is acrylic painting. I do some other things, but mostly you'll see me doing some painting projects, some simple projects, something to get you started if you have an inclination that you might want to paint. I make it very easy for you. I take you step by step. So good morning. They're canvas, Charlotte. They're the little canvas ones from Hobby Lobby, and these are on clearance. They were $3.50, so that might be good for your upcoming fair. Anita, thank you so much and welcome. Hi, Carolyn and Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Nice to see you, my friend from Mass. Hello. Hi, Mary. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to demo, because it's so hard to see me painting these little shoes. We'll get to those if we can, but I was going to just demo a big butterfly for you to start. That way you could see what I'm doing a little better. And I do like to show you that it just gets started. If you have any sort of craft paints or any kind of acrylic paint, you don't need to get something special. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to do these little shoes, probably with some kind of fabric markers, you might be able to add a lot of detail with that if you were a little fearful of some fine lines and that sort of thing. Teresa, good morning. And Kim, thank you guys all for popping in. I love this. We have a nice group. Early morning. I was, I just kind of got up, but I had my little desk ready here for you guys. So let's jump in. I'm just going to work on a little piece of canvas paper just as a demo to show you. I've got a little butterfly I started there just to get some ideas, and I've got a bigger one sketched, and then we'll put some little ones. Now, of course, the little ones on these sneakers are going to be very simple, but let me just show you how I do my butterflies, and we can go from there. Lisa, I have my other ones, the polka dot ones still, which I love. I have 3 pairs of those, and I recently lost my good pair and I only had my scratched pair, so I ordered another pair, but I ordered these at the same time. I get them from Zennies, and they're affordable, so you can order a few pairs. It's really cool. These are just my prescription readers, but I'm liking them. They're fun. Okay, Dorothy, Michelle, thank you. All right, so I just did a big sketch of a butterfly. It could be kind of simple. What I'm going to do is just fill out, I'm going to do what I did here with the outlining. And once that's dry, it's easy for me to fill in some colors. You could do it either way. I could do the colors first. Maybe I'll do that here, just something different. Notice I just went a little bit of a dark blue with my butterfly. You could do the traditional black edging, but don't forget, you don't have to paint everything actually as you see it. It's not a little correct, realistic painting, I like to have fun sometimes, so I'm going to make some more bright colors on this butterfly, especially for the kids, something a little brighter. This is looking like a real butterfly. You could also do it very whimsically and just put like little floral, like mandala almost ideas on there, little floral, little brush strokes. So don't always think that it has to look just like the picture of the butterfly. It has to look real. Whatever it doesn't look exactly real. I don't strive for realistic at all. I like to have fun with my painting. I like to use a lot of brush strokes and bright colors and put things where they don't belong sometimes. So anyways, good morning, you guys. I'm going to fill in some of the little patches here, and I think then we will do the lines over. You can see both ways. We'll do it either way. We'll put, and I want to use some pinks, and some magentas, some teals. I love teal. For paints, you can use just your regular craft paints. There's many colors available. If you have them, use them. If you don't, in my lessons and things, I do tell you a lot about just having your primary colors and mixing them. So you learn a lot that way as well. Let's just get some fun little colors here. I've just put out a little selection. Sometimes I'll just start with a color palette that I like and then go from there, painting whatever the object is, using the color palette I chose already, keeping it to a certain amount of colors, not throwing in every color under the sun to make it just a little more cohesive. Okay, so we're going to paint in some of those little bits and pieces. So I'm just going to use my imagination and just fill in some little spots. And can you see me there? You can kind of see, I think. Let me bring you up. I'm going to bring you up on my computer too. And if you have questions, I'm going to watch the best I can. If I do not see everything and there's a question, I will always come back to it. So don't worry about that. So anyway, we'll just kind of get going. I'm going to just take my darker pink there. And I'm outlining a little bit just in the dark pink, because what I can do, I'm just giving myself just some of those little divider sections of the butterfly, but I'm not worrying about is it exactly anatomically correct of what a butterfly looks like. I just want color on there, and I can just simply wipe that brush off, take a dirty brush into the white and just fill those sections in. Because I'm working a little quick, the paint's still wet, it will blend a little bit for me, enough for what I need. I just kind of wanted to find those little sections that you see on a butterfly. Because the dark pink is wet, I pick it up a little bit on my dirty brush. If I pick up too much, I just keep a paper towel handy and I just wipe it off there. I'm not worrying about being neat. Sometimes when I paint, I have a little bit more precise strokes and things, but for this little fun painting, especially on the little canvas shoes, I don't think we have to be, we want to just have it to be colorful and fun. And so I am just going in there, and that's pretty much in that little bit of time, one wing is pretty much filled in. Oops. So you can see my outline, you can see it blended a little bit for me. I can go back with a dry brush at any time while the paint's wet and soften it if I want to get it a little more blended. And I'll probably come back and swipe it a little bit with some brighter white when that dries. Just so I have a darker tone, a mid-tone, and then I'll have some little highlights. Hi Joyce and Cheryl, Natalie, thank you guys all for being here. We have a great group here this morning. Alrighty, so I'm going to stick kind of with the pinks for this one. But remember, you could go ahead and do multicolors. Maybe I'll throw in some of my teals. I do love my teals. Maybe I'll throw some teal in. Maybe I'll do the tops of these wings in the pink and get teal on the bottom. This is one big wing here. This is the little wing that's behind. And I work a little quick so that the paint doesn't dry. The acrylic paint dries fast. That's one problem sometimes you have. So I work a little fast. That allows me to blend a little bit. And I'm going to now just take the white like I did, fill it in here a little bit. I wanted more of a painterly look here too, which kind of gives you, you don't have to worry so much about it being perfect. I really want you to enjoy painting. I love to paint and I make it fun. I'm not struggling and worrying about exactly how it looks. And don't judge your paintings when you're in the middle of them. Give yourself some grace, because really, if you just wait, finish, step away a little bit, come back, you will be surprised. We're working too close here, and we always tend to you know, judge a little more, but what does it look like? Well, in the middle, paintings don't look great. It's when it all comes together at the end, we'll put little dabs of polka dots on there. We can touch up any little mistake if we think there's a mistake. Acrylics are fabulous for forgiveness. You can always fix things. So enjoy the process. The process is the important part, you guys, the process. Because it's the time you spent, if you enjoy it and relax and have fun with it, it really doesn't always matter about the outcome. It is the process. So let's, since we have some of the pinks out right here, now let's just put them in the little one that we've already outlined. So you see the two different ways to do it. This one I've already outlined. You could almost do that with like a paint marker or something if you wanted. The paint's a little lighter than the darker edging, so I'm not worried about precisely getting it right in there. What I want is little dabs of color in there. And this way we can see how they look in the end and which one you might like the best. And same thing, now I've got a little bit of color on that little one. And I'm just simply going to take little bits of white on my brush at the same time and just go in there and dab a little bit. And blend those a bit. So you can see we just have the little edging version. It's almost like coloring in. It's like in the little coloring book almost. So let's put a little teal. I think a little teal would be kind of fun. You could do some lime green. You can use whatever colors you like. Keep your eyes open when you're out and about, or you see something you really like and you wonder, why is that appealing to me? Sometimes it's the color palette. You might like a lime green and a pink, which is kind of pretty together. You might like shades of turquoise or whatnot. Sometimes it's nice just to keep that in the back of your mind when you're picking out colors for your next project. You might just not know why you like it sometimes, and then it's because the colors that go together. I'm going to just mix a phthalo blue and green here because I love the teal I get, but you also, like I said, you can buy all the different teals in colors. But if you're starting out, just take a look at my page. You know, I'm always telling people what my color palette is. I have a couple of art memberships if you want to get started. I have one that I just reopened just the other day, which is just one recorded painting a month that you get, and I go step by step with you through the painting. It's a painting that comes from my other membership. I have a membership if you really want to dig in a little deeper painting. I paint with you live a couple times a month, and you also get a recording, so you get 3 paintings a month. But if you want to just try it out and see what it's like, the a la carte, I call it the a la carte membership club, and we paint together, like I said, by recording. But it's very simple, step by step. I show you all the products I use and all that sort of thing. And same thing though, on this one, I'm just going to, again, rinse my brush, use white, just to lighten it up in the middle. It'll give me some pretty shades of turquoise there. And you do have, like I said, a little while. Now, if you're painting in acrylics and you find your paint is blending a little, it's drying a little too fast, you could always use a medium. There's mediums that are slow drying. Sometimes I'll do that if I'm painting and I'm outdoors and it's really warm and the paint's just drying too fast before I can blend. I will put a little of that slow drying medium. Thank you, Charlotte. Charlotte's one of my members. Lisa's a member. We have members pop on here too. Like I said, the new one, the a la carte, there's no obligation. It's only $12 a month. Cancel any time, and if you really like it, you can hop on over to the other membership with you know, more live interaction and more paintings. And if you just give me a follow, you'll see that information on my page. You could always send me a message if it's something that you're interested in. And like I said, this little butterfly, when we do them on the little sneakers, they'll be a lot smaller and quicker, but I wanted to do them big so that you could kind of see what we're doing here a little bit. I'm going to just fill in some of these little bits on the little guy. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Ron C. Good. Welcome, you guys. Welcome, welcome. And I'm just going to get a little turquoise on the bottom of this one here. Now, if you want to go a little more traditional and have your outline a little darker and have it more of a black, you can do that. I thought I would try it with this kind of a blue black just to see. Now I'm going to outline this one and then the butterfly will all come together. It's pretty easy. Hi, Brandy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Good to have a nice group. Okay, I'm going to just do a few little white highlights. What I like to do to make things 3D looking, like I tell you guys, I try to make a dark, which is a shadow usually, a mid-tone, then a light, a highlight. So I've got my dark edges here, I've got my mid-tone in the middle, but if I take just a little white on my brush now and just give it some little white highlights in the middle, and I'm almost hoping that it is a little wet still so it blends, just doesn't blend in too much, it just kind of leaves that little highlight here and there on top. You could get as decorative as you like with these guys. You could add little, like I said, little flowers and dots and dashes, and really just use your imagination. Sometimes look at a butterfly for reference, but don't stop there. Kind of give it your own spin using your favorite colors and your little decorative designs and things. All right, a little bit of the white on my teal touches. Sometimes if you do it just a little dab, few little dots of the white almost, it almost gives it a sparkle look, which is fun in any kind of painting like this. Now we're just going to do the outlining part, which like I said, you could do it darker. Maybe I'll go a little darker than this guy so you can kind of see the difference. It's kind of a Payne's Gray. Instead of black, I like to use Payne's Gray a lot. It's more of a blue black instead of just a dull black. And I'm mixing the Payne's Gray a little bit with my phthalo blue. Just a little simple little body. It's a little circle, a little kind of an oval shape. We'll give little legs and really cute, long, flowy antennas on that. Again, exaggerating antennas on the little butterfly aren't going to be as long as we'll make them, but I do exaggerate a little bit. And this little patch on the edge, I just kind of make that a little bit scalloped and just fill it in. We'll get little dots on there afterwards. I've done this also with just a little flat brush. Use whatever brushes you're comfortable with, but a little flat brush is, any flat brush is perfect because I can get a nice broad stroke if I need it, like along here. I can get that wide. If I want a thin stroke, I can use it on the chisel edge, and I can get a thinner stroke as well. Consistency of the paint. Lots of times I'm watering it down as I go because it's dried out a bit on the palette. So I want to keep it flowing nice so I'm not getting a lot of jagged lines. So you'll see me many times dipping into my water and adding a little bit into my paints. Just basically filling it in now in that darker color. And if you have any questions, please throw them out there. I'll try to keep looking up. But if I miss them, I'll go back later. And Cindy, yes, Cindy's a member too. So yes, thank you so much. Hi, George. Good morning, my friend George. I hope I'm going to see you when I'm up in Maine pretty soon. Are you getting spring finally a little bit there? I miss our little chats and seeing what you're working on. Okay, and I will probably use a roundy brush just to do the outlines around the little sections. So you can see the difference. You might find it easier to do the outlining first and then fill in, or afterwards. It's personal preference. Because acrylic paint, I can go over things. This little area you see me just kind of working with some details. The paint markers are fabulous for that too. I use Posca markers a lot because I like them because it's actually a paint marker. It has paint inside. Hey, Kit! You're actually shaking up that paint. It comes out and it looks like paint more than like a Sharpie, which would be a little flat. Not that you could not use it, but you can incorporate using markers if you like to paint, but you feel like, I just have a hard time with some of those details. Doesn't mean you can't paint. It means just you could just use some different methods. There's nothing wrong with using those markers. The only thing you have to remember though is to let the paint dry really well. So I would not go right on here for quite a while with my marker until I knew it was really dry, because they seize up the marker and then they're not really much good after that. So just be careful when you do that. All I'm doing is just, and again, this might not be exactly like a real butterfly looks. Honestly, I just kind of made little sections. Is anybody gonna look at it and say, oh wait, there's only 3 sections there, not 4 or something? So don't, use your imagination and do whatever you like the look of, because we're artists. We can use our artistic license. We can change things if we want to. If I'm outdoors painting, and I do a lot of plein air painting, you've seen that. Maybe if there's a tree where it shouldn't be or something that's just not attractive, I can remove it, I can move it, I can change it up. It's not that I'm a camera and I have to take an exact image. Because we're painters, we get to do what we want. We can improve the scene. We can use a better design with what we see. Alrighty, let's make those really fun, long, little antennas now, okay? Let's, hey, Catherine. Thank you guys for joining in on an early Thursday morning. I'd love for you all to tell me where you're watching from. That lets me know, if you just put a comment, it lets me know that you're there. I'd like to see where you're from, what you're up to, what you're working on, maybe where you are in your journey, if you want to be painting or creative, if you're a beginner, if you're more accomplished. And also, feel free to always share your work. I love to see all your work on my page, too. Oh, good, 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 good. Let's see, that was it Bella? Bella, good. I love to hear that. I hear that a lot, especially with my members. They have people that have wanted to paint, haven't painted in a while. You know, life gets busy, but to get back to it when you get a chance, it brings such joy to your life, I believe. Okay, so simply just some little legs, antenna. I will highlight the body. I'm gonna just take the dirty brush with that bluish gray, get white on my brush, because his body, we want to give that some dimension too. It's kind of flat looking. If we just take a little bit of light across the top, doesn't he look a little more rounded now? I could smudge that a little bit if I wanted to. Just to make him look like he's round and not just flat and painted. And like I said, I do that a lot of times with starting dark. I start dark a lot, like I am here. And then lightening it up a little bit, maybe a mid-tone, and then maybe a nice little white highlight here and there. I'm going to give a little white highlight onto our little guy, just like a little bit of a white highlight. And can you see how that sort of makes the body look just a little rounder? Oh, North Carolina, April. I'm in Florida right now. Donna's in Minnesota. I'm in Florida for the winter, and I'll head up to Maine and for a little bit in the summer. So I've got the best of both worlds. This is my first winter in Florida. I have recently moved here, so it's kind of been a really fun time. So for the little dots that you see like on their edge of their wings, you can easily take the back end of your brush and make dots. On this, I wanted to look a little more natural and not perfect polka dots, which, again, if you're doing something, and I do love polka dots, you can just certainly make them polka dots, but I kind of want them to be a little bit more organic, so I'm going to just take my brush with a blob of white on it and just kind of press it on there. So I can make sometimes more of a square shape and more of a different size dots. I don't mind it mixing with the blue-gray if that's still wet. I like to use some little tiny ones sometimes, and I'm simply going to make the little dots along there that you see sometimes on the edge of the butterfly wings. It's funny, I pull up some inspiration on my iPad usually. I look at it a little bit and then I go and do my own thing, which is kind of what makes my artwork mine, and I don't even realize I'm doing it sometimes, but I do try to get some ideas of where I'm going, and then I just deviate to what the design will call for or look good as. Sometimes the butterflies have just like white spots heavier here, there. So maybe I'll just put some in that are heavy now, that are almost like spots, not the highlight. And again, it just sort of just gives, it's more of a decorative touch. And that's basically what I would do for my little butterflies. Because this is very big, it might look a little more detailed, but I'm going to go ahead and paint some on the little shoes, the little sneakers that you might have seen. Let's see. Oh, we have people from all over. Deb, that's right. You are near me, and we were going to get together. We have to do that before I head up north. I don't know where the time went this winter. Honestly, it has flown by. The weeks just fly by. I've done some events, and I've had a blast here, but I have to get up that way. Like I said, I have a friend in Claremont, and I do head up through Groveland. So let's make a plan before I head north. All right, a simple butterfly for you there. If you guys wanted to even take a screenshot of that, you could. I will post it too. I post these things usually on my page, and then we have the replay I post on Craft Round the Clock. So never feel bad like that you're late or you just popped in. Everything's always recorded. That's the best part. You can always come back to it. Thank you, April. So let's take these little fabric sneakers. Now, everyone will ask, what am I using? Is it a special fabric paint? They do they do sell special fabric paints. These are not. These are just my ordinary acrylics, which are pretty permanent. You get something on your clothes, which I always do, it's never coming off. So I don't. The only time I would use a fabric paint or a medium is if I'm painting something soft, like a t-shirt or has a soft hand and I don't want it to be like really stiff after it was painted. I would probably use a special paint then, because it would just not be as stiff sometimes as the acrylics can be. So that is how I do it. There's many ways. You can put sealers. Some people put Mod Podge on afterwards, or a sealer. I've just been painting them. I've had no problem. If you missed it in the beginning, here's some that are already done. The little dragonflies are very cute. And look at how simple the little flowers are. You don't need to do much. There's a little pair with a little beach on it. I think I sold all the sea turtle ones. These little sneakers are nice because of the area you have to paint on. But like I said, anybody near Hobby Lobby, these were marked down to $3.50. If you have some you want to paint for the grandkids or for a fair, they're perfect. I'm also painting on denim jackets and things. So there's my sea turtles on the back of a little denim jacket. I find these at like the thrift stores, and then I paint the backs. So remember, and this little guy, this is just a little zipper bag. They sell them at Hobby Lobby. You can paint on fabric, you can paint on glass. I painted glasses last week, you might remember. Do use a special paint for that. But don't think it has to always be on canvas or a piece of wood or slate. There's so many things that you can paint on. So I'm going to just paint some, and these guys are going to be small on the sides, but you'll get to see what they look like. I'll probably put some little grasses and maybe some flowers up as well. I did start with just a little sketch so I knew where I was going, especially on the fabric. Let me just cut this apart because we need to... Actually, no, I'm going to leave them together. If they go to the shop, I don't want them to get separated. So I'm going to paint around them being together. So a little butterfly, and sometimes, of course, the same technique. You can paint the butterfly full open. I think it will fit better on my little shoes as the side view of the butterfly. And I know this is small, but that's why I want to do the big one for you first. So let me just sketch a little butterfly here. And it's very simple. You don't have to really know how to draw a lot. You're just doing that little body, that little long oval shape, a little head, and then a little bit of an idea where the wings are. It really can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be really fancy or anything. And let's see, I'm trying to look at the thing. Watching from Rhode Island, Courtney. I lived in Massachusetts for my whole life, so I was down in Rhode Island quite a bit. Oh, and Rita, you're here. Good morning, my friend. I don't know why my things aren't scrolling now, but I'll take a look at all of them after. Let's paint a couple of these. No, I'm going to do one for now because I don't want to smudge it. And it's just the same thing. You can't really... The blending is a little harder on fabric. You have to dig in a little more with your brush. If I was painting something bigger like the denim jackets, I tend to go to a stiffer brush. But this is small, so we just have to dig in a little more with our paintbrush and just get into the nooks and crannies of the canvas of the shoe. So what I think I will do is give myself that little outline first like we did. So I'm just going to go into my dark. Again, you could use a black. I'm using a Payne's Gray, which is just not quite black. It has blue in it, so to me it is more colorful than just a dull black. When you mix the black with white, you get really a dull gray. When I mix Payne's gray with white, I get kind of a lighter blue, which I like. I do always, when I'm painting something black, whether it's a pet or hair or something, I always highlight with a light blue. So I like the idea that that's what I get with Payne's gray. So we'll just fill in the little body, and I know that's a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I can just hold it up a little bit. Maybe if I put this under my hand here. It's not too bad. And so I'll just paint in a little, you can start with just a little circle for the head and a little body. And it's not as detailed because it's not big like we were just painting. It could be super simple. I was almost going to start with this, but I thought it would be just too tiny for you guys to see. We'll get those cute little antennas in there. And I almost don't even need little legs. They're that small. We're not even going to put little legs on them. Let's see what time it is. We're 9 o'clock. So we are 8:30 to 9:15. Craft Around the Clock segments are 45 minutes. And I love the fact that we get so much done in that little bit of time. So it kind of makes you stop and think that, you know, most of us don't have time to craft and paint and do all our creative endeavors. It's hard to fit it in during the day. But when you think if you can take just a half an hour and sit down at your table, even if it's just to organize your little workspace, it's amazing how that gets you ready to really jump in and craft. And even if you do a few minutes, it just adds a lot to your day. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and ways that you carve out time in your day for your creative endeavors. I know it's hard. I do have a blog all about that particular issue on my website. And if there's anything I mentioned, because we are quick here, if anything I mentioned and you're interested in, send me a message after and I'll direct you to any of that information. And I'm going to just do that back wing, and it has that little thick area. You can see how quick you can do some of these small bits. But I did want to show you the bigger picture so that you would have that. So their wings are basically, I do them a little thinner on the edges, which if you make them thicker, you can put little dots there too. And then this little edge of the wing, which is kind of a little bit thicker there. I'm doing this upside down, so forgive me if it's not exactly right. Let me get my little images of butterflies. That helps a little bit. And the bottom wing is kind of divided sometime. And then the little division lines. And again, they don't have to be exactly right. I just make a little series of lines, and that's enough. That gives you the impression. And so just a little outline to get you started. Now what I would do if I was here painting the group of them, I would just line them up and do them all in a row. But I'm going to do that one here because if I have time, I can show you how to do some quick little flowers around it as well. I'll rinse that brush off. I think for this little guy, I'm just going to stick and just use it on a little round detail brush. Get some of my pink in there. And I'm really just filling it in roughly. I am not trying to get it perfect. I'm filling it in with the dark roughly so that I can just dry off my brush on the paper towel. Go right into my white. And get, even though it's tiny, we're still going to do a little highlighting here. So I'm still getting a little white in there. Dries pretty fast on these little shoes, so it's not giving me as much time to blend. So I'm going to go back and forth with the darker pink and then the light on top when I need it. A little bit of light, a little bit of white. Kind of waiting for the wearable things to go on sale again at Hobby Lobby because I really like painting straw hats, and now that the spring and the summer is here, they are a great item again for a show or if you were teaching a class. They have a nice one at Hobby Lobby. I went to paint it this morning, but I know they're gonna, if they're not on sale this week, I know they're gonna go on sale soon, so I will just kind of watch that for a few weeks, and when I pick that up, I'll do a demo with sunflowers on a big straw hat, which is really fun for the summertime. Deborah, but just even like a few minutes a day to carving out that time, I have found really works. And even if it is just a half an hour, because I did always think, well, I need to get everything ready and I have to have all the time. And I did a little challenge with someone one day, and it was just 25 minutes a day to paint. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have sat down, because I would say, I don't have time today. But then I would think, okay, I have 25 minutes. And I would sit down, and it was amazing that I'd had a whole week of those 25-minute segments, which really kind of brought home to me how much you can do, or just to get that little time start. Even if you get down and start a project, and then it's all ready for the next day for a few minutes, and you do feel like you're getting a little more accomplished. So there we have a little bit of the teal in there, a little bit of the pink. Now some dots. These don't have to even be fancy. I'm just going to go in with just grabbed a little white paint on the brush, and I'm just going to put those little dots in. Different sizes, of course. Maybe while I have that on my brush, I'll just do a little swipe on the front edge of my butterfly. And I think that's all we need. You could do a few of those. Some opened up, and that is enough for a little butterfly on something like a wine glass or on the little shoes. But we don't want him just floating out there by himself, right? We need a little something around him. I'm going to put some grasses. And then when the darker grasses are there, I can put some light colored flowers on top pretty simply. Even in just the 10, what do we have, about 9 minutes left. So let's do that. I'm going to use my little flat brush and just use the side edge to get some grasses. Like I said, I a lot of times work dark to light, so I'll start with some dark green, dark blue green. And I'm going to add yellow to that as I go and get it lighter. And I'm just going to have just some little strokes. When I do grasses like that, I will start at the bottom, press down on my brush a little bit, and lighten up so I have just some little blades of grass. And you can see how it's, it doesn't dig in too great, so I will add a little water maybe, do a few strokes. I like the idea that this is almost a teal, a dark teal for the grasses, because it blends in, matches the colors I used on my butterfly. So that goes back to what I said about color palettes. I use these few colors for all of the things, and it really is a little more cohesive. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow now so that I get a brighter green. And the brighter green is going to look like it's coming forward. This can kind of almost be a mid-tone. I've got my dark green. I've got a lighter green here. And then I'll add a little bit of white to this, and that gives me my highlighted green. So I'm going to just add a little white to that mixture, a little bit. White really helps to make something a little more opaque. If you're having trouble covering something dark, add a little white to the mixture, and they'll really pop for you. I'm going to let that dry a little bit too. So, but there I've got some little grasses, and now we're going to put some little flowers on top of that. Let's see, we've got some. I'd like to see beautiful Kentucky. I'd like to see all you guys here. Thank you. Oh, Sarah, I do. I have a camper up in the coast of Maine, so that's where I'll go for the summer. But I used to love it when I had a littler camper that I could kind of drag around and visit all kinds of places, especially in the summer. It's a great idea. All right, I'm going to just hit it for 1 second with the heat gun so that I can put some nice little fun flowers, little one-stroke flowers on there. Really easy. Now I'll be painting all these up for my shop, like I said. So when I do, I'll give you a picture of all of the different ones that I have painted so you can get some ideas. So one-stroke flowers. Let me show you on the bigger paper first. They're very simple. We don't have to get into shading and all that as if they were bigger, but I'm going to show you one here. I'm just going to grab a color that you can see. I start from the outside edge and work in, and I just press my brush and pull, press and pull. Always from the outside end, because you get a nice petal shape. And then I put a little center, probably yellow. You can also, if you wanted to, grab, while you have that brush loaded with that pink, grab a little white right on the brush and press and pull, and you get almost a little highlight as you go. And then I would go and, like I said, just pop in little centers. That can be any color. There's many little one-stroke flowers. I do show them to you over time. There's roses you can do with one-stroke leaves. If you're painting a little bigger, with a bigger, flatter brush, you can do some beautiful pieces. I believe I have some one-stroke flowers free classes over on YouTube. If you look over there, look up one-stroke florals on my YouTube page. I am Tinker's Cart Art again, so that you know where to look for me in all the places. So I'm going to go ahead and put some little flowers in here, and I would have to go with a color because I have a white background. I don't want to jump in with like a yellow now or something because that just wouldn't go, so I think we'll stick with pink. And I'm going to try this brush, but it won't be too big. I've got some dark pink flowers here, and again, even though they're teeny, I'm still going from the outside edge in. I can go with some that are a little lighter. As it dries, I might come back and make a little bit of a lighter even still so they really pop over those dark grasses. I think I need to start darker there and get lighter just so I get a base for it. Sometimes I just put a little bit of a petal peeking out, like three little petals, or a little bit of a flower peeking out from behind, because it doesn't always have to be full on, straight on flowers the whole way. I'm going with a little white now to just get them a little brighter pink. Now sometimes, like I said, for about light colors, like for instance, yellow is very transparent, sometimes hard to get to cover. So what I would do in a case like this is I would do the center of the little flower just in white, and when that's dry, when I pop yellow on top of it, it's really nice and bright. A little accent of yellow on here will work. I'm going to let that dry a second, and I thought I had another idea. I might go in and get a really light yellow and do just some more little grasses. A little bit lighter, thinner, longer. You could do little bees. Dragonflies are fun to paint. Ladybugs would be cute on here. You could do some of all of the above. How are we doing on time? 3 whole minutes. So anyways, you have a whole day of crafters lined up here. So the best thing to do is wait a few minutes after my segment, and then you may have to refresh the page to see the next crafter. But please do stay tuned, because it's going to be a great day of creativity. So I'm going to just pop in now with the yellow a couple little centers. And you can see how you really don't need a lot on a little smaller item. But you could really go a little bit more on the bigger ones. You know, I would pop in the centers here. Sometimes I would take a little bit of a white now and just get that in there just to give the center some dimension. You could certainly take a lighter. The bigger the flower, the more little touches you can add, more highlights and things. You could, you know, for instance, get some little lines coming out from the center there. That brush was a little too wet. But something like that. So it's kind of just an idea, some little elements that you could use. And like I said, ladybugs, dragonflies, all that sort of thing would be good in there. Let me see if there's any questions. And, oh, you know what's always fun too, especially for the little girls here, is when it's done putting on some of the glitter, which it's not the loose glitter that's going to fly everywhere. It's Twinkles by Deco Art, and it's in a binder. So it's kind of like it dries clear, and I'm going to have to put that on there because I know you won't see it on camera that much, but it would add that little cool touch to that butterfly. Make them a little sparkly. And it gives it a little shine. I use it in a lot of different paintings and things if you want just a little glitter, just a little sparkle. And I think the only other thing I would do is like a little white dot in the yellow of these flowers. Is just a little too bright for me, so a little yellow dot to calm that down a little bit. And when it's dry, I'm going to get a little pinker on those little flowers. So there we are. We're going to finish up shortly. My time is about up, and I so appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Thursday morning. And please give me a follow. I would appreciate it. It really helps all the crafters here if you guys just make comments, send emojis. I know it's a simple thing, but honestly, it helps our reach and get us out there so that other creatives will find us. So I hope you guys all have a great week. Please share any projects. It doesn't have to be something I do. It doesn't have to be a painted thing. I do love it to see what everybody is up to on my page. So please feel free to jump on there and share, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you for painting with me. Bye.